possibly been, right? We have had so much water in all of our Erangel circles. This one will be down the middle unless, for some reason, we get all those north shifts and then the river becomes an extreme focus point. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. Now, as Argentina on the hunt for a member of Denmark, Ket has found himself in a bit of a rough spot here, considering the drops, as they were normally going towards Ferry Pier, but Argentina, because of the playing path, has challenged them for this, and Keter is down.
Oh, of all of the teams, Argentina finding out Denmark. These guys have been going kind of neck and neck at each other, so that does put now Argentina over neutral. Talk a lot about what's going on with Brazil and Korea, now just 6 points separated, but we still have a tie between now China and Argentina. Neutral just 1 point back behind that because there is so much brewing. Of course, let's take a quick look at the last game.
Yeah, for Vietnam, obviously taking the win here from this one. It's a kind of a home circle that they end up getting themselves, considering the compounds that they're able to take. So not much to break down from a Vietnam win. It's just a bit of a shame that they didn't really hit the ground running similar to the way they did in PNC 2025, right?
Yeah, this is just such a big game for Korea to come in at this point, but I do agree with everything you're talking about with Vietnam. This is... you're looking at Tanvu, you're looking at Imas. These are guys that you know can just frag out and get like 10 kill games themselves. And the fact that it's been a bit of a struggle for them to find successes in firefights is just baffling to my brain.
Yeah, not easy at all. And with big names that you got to take down at the end as well, not easy for the likes of Thailand, South Korea constantly making a good run of it here to try and keep themselves in the running. It's a tale as old as time now here in PUBG, right? We get our PNCs in Korea. Guess what? South Korea is always there, knocking on the door to become a champion.
Waiting for this to finish out. Go ahead and give you guys an update on how the rotations are going. We end up with a pretty central circle onto the main island itself. Brazil's already pretty much centered up on that. And we do also have Korea making a wrap into the circle. So it's all just going to be about positioning coming out in kind of eyes onto the later circles. So you're not missing too much just yet. It's just the jockeying for position.
An early emergency pickup for Turkey is currently going on as well whilst we watch all of this out. But yeah,
why is this so long? This is like their longest one that we've seen so far.
It's the final game.
I know. It's like I need to see where people are going. Okay, Korea's managed to get in the circle. They got really, really close to Argentina, but nothing has happened, and they're making a run for kind of that run for that ruined boatyard area.
Yeah, this is actually quite important because this is a really early move for them to come in the west side, right? And there's a world where they could end up in conflicts much earlier. All right, okay, well, you know what? More highlights.
Yay. Okay, so again, big game for Korea finding those kills. They were talking about the fact that they wanted to aim for 20 points. Got so close in the last game. What was it? Second place, so 6 points. Walking away 17 points. Very big game for them, as a lot of their games have kind of not had the highest kill count. So not even getting the victory on that gives them one of their better overall point totals. But what I've got eyes on now is Korea finally coming alive, finally really getting a big kill game for themselves. Means the fact that this could be the propulsion. I think it was Gibson that was talking about the fact that momentum is definitely on the side of Korea right now.
Yeah, Boatyard's not a bad spot to have as a checkpoint here to get things rolling. The only problem is again, there's some big names ahead of you on the east side. As Philippines and Finland going to fight each other on the eastern towards the Eastern Bridge location and see what they can get done. Just flying through the area. Sata Ali takes a few shots. 95 damage done, but here comes the reinforcement. Scav will take him out. There's still quite a bit of money to be won down towards the bottom here. So Scav and the boys from Team Finland looking to shut down the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be on the eastern layer of the bridge. Thailand's going to be on the other side of it, so whoever manages to win this firefight still has to deal with another
interesting thing to be said about Korea's position for where they've taken on Boatyard, right? I think they're gambling on the idea of, just in case this goes north, we have the bridge next to Boatyard to be able to go up there completely unimpeded, right? I think it's a rare chance we will be going north, but I think they're kind of crossing their T's, dotting all their I's, hedging their bets on in case something goes down. So that's why they're here super early.
get an idea on where the positioning is coming out from Korea that we've been talking about. China is going to be pretty centered up as well. Brazil is going for more of the field lay. A couple of rotation capabilities for them, but Brazil also in a very wide 2-2 split. Feels like they're playing for safety right now, and that might come back to bite them. If we end up with a cluster of teams just stacked on top of them, like, I don't know, Ukraine due south, Great Britain that's on the hunt for points, USA, Indonesia, and China all right next to as well as neutral, those 2-2 splits are extremely punishable. Those 2-2 splits are extremely punishable.
Yeah, especially in a lobby like this where we've seen some dashes on through. Korea now going to take the north side of Rozhok as well. This kind of affords them a similar boon to I was explaining of having that bridge available to them over towards Boatyard, right? You've still got this bridge just north of Rozhok that you could use to your advantage as well if for some reason the circle doesn't quite favor the south side. There's Argentina just driving alongside ruins as well, coming in underneath where the Koreans have just left.
We definitely need to mention that no matter how this goes down, Argentina and Brazil should be incredibly proud of the performance they came into with this whole
100%.
event. It's been a massive glow up for both of these teams.
Yep, no doubt. I didn't come in thinking to myself that these two teams were going to be challenging for number one, but here they are, looking great for it. I think it really is very clear that they've worked hard on their synergy alongside their, in inverted commas, new teammates to be able to kind of play this out against some of the very best in the world. China is one of them, lurking on the east side of Rozhok alongside Korea. If China was able to shut down Korea and get a big game, there's a world where they could quite easily, all they've got to do is get a 16 kill win, which is not out of the realms of possibility. We've seen it before in this tournament, right? And then China's suddenly challenging if Korea and Brazil go down early.
There is a world where Brazil and Korea both could falter, depending on how this circle goes. And China still has opportunities in front of them.
There we go.
Give it to us. Ooh, yes, Naya right along the lake. So Korea in their rotate you're talking about could have an opportunity for them. Brazil's just going to be down in the south, right in the middle of the death tunnel, with Great Britain, Ukraine, as well as Denmark, Thailand, all going to be rolling up right on top of them.
So exactly what I was saying about Korea, they've taken that bridge straight away. I think they're going north. They are going to be moving up there here to try and make this work from the north side. Germany might get caught off a little bit by it, but Brazil, meanwhile, has decided to move on the south side of this circle. The problem is there's still the river. There's still Yasnaya Pond in something like this. It's such a hard circle to make a decision on.
It's a smart play if the water settings hadn't changed, because it would probably pop over into this area, but now you've kind of put yourself into a gamble for circle where Korea is also kind of doing the same. They're mirroring it on the other side of it over into the northwest. Neutral is kind of digging themselves in while Indonesia is on the hunt. You should be able to roll these grenades down the hillside. Neutral knows it, not feeling too good about the positioning for him now, so trying to step away from it. Looks like they still have the safety trees doing enough to provide something.
If I had to hedge my bets as those two teams, Korea and Brazil, as Korea, you're going north because you expect there to be a lot less teams up there, therefore a lot less threats based on how it's shifted. Nades go forwards though against neutral here, against Indonesia as Indo. I think they don't really want too much of this fight right now. They're kind of backing off. That nade was almost just a warding off nade here so they can go over towards one of the compounds.
And it's a strong compound for the circle. I mean, it is pretty centered. Neutral also having that hillside is going to feel pretty strong. With Indonesia kind of giving that one up, means that it's going to be a nice capability for using the hillside, specifically the higher points on it for Team Neutral, who have presently been playing the lower sections of it. Brazil is going to commit more into this 2-2 split of safety. Denmark's going to be just to the south. Ukraine going to be on the other side of the hills from them. So it's just probably Great Britain that could be an issue. And I'm kind of looking up, and it looks like Argentina is creeping up closer and closer to Korea.
I do like these check-ins on how these top four teams have been able to rotate so far, and you're right, with Argentina lurking below Korea, all it would take was one knock, and then maybe Argentina would start to spring a bit of a trap there against Korea. Evan driving around. There were some longer range shots coming in from Rozhok against them, but Korea's got so much terrain cover here that they shouldn't be too concerned about that just yet. Oh, okay.
Extra cover, you know, it's to catch the nades. So whenever they roll down there, because you know that can seat, what, 8 people? Totally useful in PUBG.
You know, actually, if you dig and then have an inflatable boat above it, it's the most crazy cover you've ever seen in your life. It actually protects you from nades. But yeah, I don't know if they think... Well, actually, I mean, on a spot like that, it's dead center of this circle. It might actually be their kind of thinking. We've seen it before.
I mean, why not? If you have it and just throw it down, find some use for everything. I mean,
it does work.
We know that Batulans and the rest of the crew will use everything they got. Circle's going to stay centered, so while we've been getting a lot of wild stuff, This one's staying kind of regimented and true, just center up into center up. Neutral's gonna love that. Germany gonna probably regroup from their split that they've got. Brazil does have one of their splits that are going to be inside the circle, as well as Korea up into the northwest, having a couple of players already in play, but it doesn't feel too good, so they're gonna shift down to this other spot.
Yeah, Korea backfills into that compound. Argentina trying to catch out Spaceman here. What a play! What an interception coming in. Argentina might just go very aggressive on this one and see what they can get done, but that is an important little kill that they're able to get there. Korea's moved into the compound where they actually died off early on in one of these games, but there's not too many threats going their way. I'm scared, Matrim, that if this circle centers up on water, it's what a game this could be.
It feels like Korea's thinking that might happen. Argentina comes in. They feel like they've got destiny under control, playing heavy, and Germany is the one that punishes it. How do these two squads just keep bumping into each other over and over again?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been like 4 or 5 fights that these teams have had across 15 games alone. And Argentina, they keep getting rinsed in a lot of them as well. Germany somehow winning things out, despite them being kind of mid-tables at the moment. Now, it's Chris in the smoke, trying to find a little bit of more of a push forwards. Been throwing a nade forwards, takes down Capitan. And so in that Harry Potter, they're kind of donezo. That is brutal there for Argentina.
Germany can't stay there any longer. USA, they saw them in the move on one side of it. They're going to be caught up with what's going on with Indonesia, who's run into their form of a split. We also do have Thailand and Turkey kind of bouncing off of each other around the lake up into the north, but it's going to be Celtic going down, and Setsuna just kind of holding back in the hallway, waiting for somebody to walk down this. Again, probably the most brutal push you can make in PUBG, specifically on Erangel, to say the least, is pushing that hallway.
I'm so concerned for Korea, the gamble that they've tried to go for. Argentina's gone, and that is them down. That's podium open here for China, as well as neutral, as maybe Denmark as well can maybe take charge for it. But Korea was gambling so hard on this kind of higher circle. They're even having people swim across the river now, or Korea, as they're in the pursuit of this championship.
But China has so much territory to work with down to the southwest. Everybody has gone for the play into the fields around Yasnaya, and China has got, I guess almost 1.5 kilometers of territory that nobody's really playing around. Ukraine going to go ahead and put some work onto Indonesia, as well as that is going to be United States going to go ahead and get that last little talk onto Setsuna, and Indonesia is eliminated in last place.
Yeah, circle's going to be shifting soon. Tian is looking for a bit of a res here as quickly as possible to get China's full-man 4 squad back up, good to go. You can see here as Guman already swam on over to try and make something work, knowing that they need a little bit of an anchor point on the other side of this bridge. Otherwise, if they were to get all caught at the same time, by, say, Germany, for example, that would be dicey. But shots coming in from Code Marco against them here. Guman's got to be very careful. If they lose him, there's no res potential.
But I'm worried about Finland pushing down onto Brazil down in the south. That's forced them to go back to the Great Britain line.
True.
Circle has now popped. Turkey having to make something happen for themselves. Is this wall now no longer going to be in play? Here we go. This is what I wanted. Brazil, BL, you can see kind of caught out. Finland, though, doesn't look like they've got to focus into going after the solo player from Brazil. He's trying to just make it down and regroup. But Great Britain now just trying to move into a gatekeeping position. This now means 3 squads, all of them European, on the outside of this, watching Brazil right on the edge of the zone.
Yeah, Finland, I think they were trying to cordon off any teams going around, and technically they can move just a little bit north onto Volcano location, so that should be okay for them. Knowing, though, there is somebody down in this compound, it's not ideal at all, this compound. You really lose a lot of vehicles down here if people are looking down on this spot. You'll be able to survive here, but you're not getting many kills off of it. And I think Sparking and the boys realize this. I think they realize it's go time to find a spot towards some of these fields, maybe a crater or two. This is dangerous. This is very dangerous.
This is first place on the line in a rotate. They gotta go. Tony's gone down. That's a big problem. Tony's done so much work for this squad. Lots of damage. Another one goes down. BL, it's just 2. Brazil sends it into the center of the circle and narrowly survives.
Não tem muito o que fazer. Tava
Got a little bit
difícil.
of a car fault,
Vai
some smokes
explodir o
as well here,
veículo.
trying to deny some of those lines of sight. One of the cars is gone now, though, as well. To Kraken and Sparking. No kills go their way. Thailand's going to move on the Germany position. Up against this field, try and take down this Chris. They do in kind. And also Justice has gone over in this other position. So now, Germany's going to tail and leave. Thailand doing a lot of damage to them as they do move forwards. But the tail of the tape is Brazil is wounded. This is an opportunity now for Korea to strike.
Vietnam is trying to push into USA. Looks like they might take a casualty off of it. Actually, no. Hamas just jumps out. He should be fine. That's going to be a foothold position, so the rest of Vietnam could come after that. I was worried USA might discourage that approach and force them more down into Brazil position. Korea also regrouping up to the north, right next to where we just saw Thailand make that push. Remember, they're crossing that bridge, and so they're going to end up with Thailand potentially having crosshairs on them in just a few, as China still has tons of space to work from. It's pretty much clear from them all the way over to neutral.
Spaceman back in for China, trying to dive back down to the rest of the team. Difficult stuff indeed, though. Here comes Korea now, slowly slithering their way in on this western side. And Turkey, well, they're not slithering, they're going for a swim. That was anything but slow.
Just got to send it sometimes. They know Korea's playing the other side, and it's going to be China down here. China doesn't like this, though. They see somebody that's just bold enough to dive into the water. It's like, these guys don't care. We got stuff to play for. Let's send it the other side. They're going to wrap around. That puts them in Denmark's sight line. But that little bit of a ridge should provide enough. And the way that this is kind of positioned up, now Turkey has to go for a position closer to neutral. And that opens up a lot more for China, as Turkey's kind of defending their back now as the circle pops. Korea's narrowly in it, Brazil as well. But there's going to be a cluster of squads down to the south that has to move in.
Both top teams in. I'm a little bit concerned for Korea, though, unless they can win out some straight 4v4 firefights, right? Like Thailand lurking over the way from them. I don't think they'll end up engaging them. I think they'll stay on that west side, but there's still Turkey looking that way, and then maybe eventually neutral might be a bit of a gatekeeper for them if Korea goes down the path I'm expecting. So there's definitely a problem that still lies in the way of Korea here to try and knock Brazil off their perch.
Slowing back down the pacings. You can see long-range shots coming up from Korea just to keep some control, see if they can get a knock or a kill onto Turkey, who's outside of everything. Philippines going to go ahead and get eliminated there. Not too much else that they could do from that position. More and more squads are starting to falter, but with Argentina, everybody else has been down to the bottom. So Real still having opportunities for China. Neutral continue their climb. Denmark wants to try to catch up to neutral as well, but Korea and Brazil continue to be the focuses. Oh my God. Korea has themselves a setup and a mortar. Where are they focusing it to? Turkey.
Going the way of Turkey. I understand it, right? I think that they want to play the west side of this circle because it's covered against a lot of the other teams here. Now Great Britain moving in against Brazil. Sparking gets fed himself a little bit of a point here, but Vard runs him over. They are gone. They are gone unless they get maybe one confirm off of that. 124 will be that benchmark. Can Korea get themselves at least 6 points?
They know it. They saw it inside the kill feed. They have to be careful. Thailand's on the other side. Denmark taking some casualties. Tian managed to find one, but he goes down. Nades coming out, counter on the side of it. Just 2 up for China, and they've got Denmark in front of them, and they still have to get into the circle after that. Ukraine starting to take a couple of shots into Finland. That's going to be Ukraine completely eliminating them. United Kingdom now goes down as well. Vietnam, USA stacked up next to each other. Everybody's starting to fall, but we haven't managed to make the placements yet, and that's what Korea wants.
I think this entry point is really good for Korea. I think they know why they're slow rolling it, right? Like, they can exist on this west side of this circle for quite a while. And yeah, exactly as you're saying, I think that this is exactly what they want, just to be able to slow roll it and see if any kills come their way. But that's going to be the Korea playbook for this game.
They just roll right into Xiao Wu's face. They're going to get the knock onto him as well. Sheila comes up big. China just what? That is crazy pushes. Spaceman's all the way across the circle.
Yep, not easy. I had to get him up from the res. Now Denmark here is going to be a bit of a roadblock for Turkey. As Fairist also doing damage against Denmark here. Try to do things. Okay, Belmoth knocks Songjang. That's important. What's actually going on there? Thailand is watching as Korea is trying to edge along that western side that I was mentioning before. But with so many potential threats there, neutral also doing damage to Denmark. I think that technically some of those western threats are all killing off themselves.
Yeah, we can see that neutral's focused in on the defense from Denmark to the south. That's opened Korea to wrap around to the north. The new circle has popped. Korea is not in it. It's focused in on USA, Vietnam, as well as Ukraine. Ukraine quickly usurps the compound positions. Very defended. Now neutral has to figure out what they're going to be doing with it. Korea has to start popping off. They do not have the circle anymore. They have Thailand in front of them on one side and neutral on the other.
It's looking more and more likely that it's time for a new champion here at PNC. Levante for neutral shuts down Denmark. They fall. There's a few teams that could potentially leapfrog their position here, but now we're on board with Gumin, knowing that this west side is still extremely important. Can neutral shut down Korea? If they defend against Korea here on this side, there's a world where neutral could have a big game and maybe leapfrog that second place, but you've got to beat Korea. And Heather starts off with the big nade against Petulins.
It's been playing for position, but now it is just time to firefight. Korea running forward. does have Batulins down. Neutral trying to figure out how they can retaliate. Thailand's using the opportunity to just crest along the sides, mirroring this, using the ridgeline and the road for cover. But Korea has to just bully their way up this hillside. They have to remove Neutral, who is firmly entrenched.
Thailand's charging nades. Thailand's charging nades as well off on the left-hand side of this camera. You can't see it maybe coming in, but this could be devastating. Also, nades coming in from Neutral as well, trying to shut down Korea. Is it time for a new champion here at PNC? It looks like a little bit of a back off from Thailand on this fight. They're not peeking over. They're not cresting the hill to shut down Korea, so it's still just Korea versus Neutral.
Well, Neutral hasn't been able to get in the circle either. Shilla's creeping up from back behind. Lou does get the knock onto Songjong, but Heather finally gets the flush out onto Batulins. Neutral still with 3 up. Korea's got nowhere to go. You can see that they're trying to run away. They're going to get another knock. Just 1 up on the other side. Korea on the hunt, trying to find somewhere to go. But let's not forget Thailand still on the other side. Neutral, do you go on the hunt or do you go for the circle?
I think if you hunt them, it's the only way you can get more money on the board. This is difficult here now for Korea. Almost impossible. You saw the almost desperation nade going into that shack to see if they could scramble any more points available here. But here comes Scappy as Heaven. Goes down.
Just 1 up. Neutral decided to go for the hunt on defense. Nade's gonna roll in. Korea is eliminated. They did not get the points to catch up to Brazil. How much more can Neutral get?
Korea down, brutal scenes here. They will not be 3 times champion. Levante, why are you suddenly going crazy here in this game? Technically, 10 points is all that stands between.
Trying to climb, trying to find some more out of this right now. Neutral has to find something to work from. Their disadvantaged positions. You can see smokes going down in front of them. So hard to navigate as the focus now from Thailand has shifted back over. Can Brazil and all the work that they put in be enough? Can Neutral creep up, usurp the position that Korea's got right now? Just 10 points, and there's still a lot on the table. Ukraine comes alive, starting to take the shots onto Thailand. USA now also starting to shift a little bit of their focus onto Thailand's positioning.
Yeah, I think if Neutral actually wants to take a second place here, they need some help for the rest of the lobby. I think that Thailand technically is the first port of call, but at the same time, Ukraine is focusing their attention on them. Neutral's down. That's a 3rd place at the moment. And there's no way, Spaceman. I think he has nothing. I don't think that he's going to be able to leapfrog here after coming in from that res. So that might just be the podium completely finished here, but the fight for the mid-pack is still raging on. Yeah, he's got 0. 0 hit. There's no way he gets 6 more points at least.
Yeah, I mean, unless he can run up and punch a couple of people that have been knocked. Ukraine to the south, taking control over everything, but you can see it is Thailand, 90 points, USA 88, Ukraine 85, Vietnam 80. A lot to still be fought for right now as 11th through 7th fighting to see how much higher they can go, because Argentina at 101 and Denmark at 94 are catchable.
Yeah, some of these teams in the mid-pack could jump up quite nicely for more money. Brazil knows they've done it, I think. Look at that. Look at the elation and the absolute satisfaction of what we just witnessed here from the coach. But now Thailand, oh no, they're clown carring it, Matrim.
They just got to send it and go. Vietnam, USA have been holding the compounds around just close enough. They didn't have to go too far. Spaceman's taking some blue zone damage, just trying to creep his way forward. So a lot of this coming down to the focal point that compounds that USA is playing from. It just seems like the circle keeps pulling that way. Ukraine doesn't have as much to work with, because if they keep pushing on that higher ridge, it is very punishable.
Yeah, Ukraine, 11 kills. Like, technically, Thailand, USA, Ukraine could all actually jump up really nicely here if they're able to convert on a win. And for Ukraine, I think they realized that, yeah, okay, we're only 3 alive, but a lot of the fights on that northern side are going to have to pop off one after another against each other, not so much Ukraine, who still has a decent stranglehold on this south position.
And USA and Vietnam have just been chilling next to each other for so long.
Yeah.
Thailand now just starting to join that party as Spaceman keeping the crawl going, but you've got Tanvu right next to you. Look, if somebody knocks Tanvu and flushes him out, maybe he can get something to work with. That's the only dream he's got.
A little bit of a push-up from Ukraine once again into the smokes, laid down very well here. Hakatori with 6, Fairist with 4. Fairist has been fantastic for Ukraine throughout the survival stage into this final as well. Now that circle favors a little bit of Ukraine's position, as well as the compound here from USA, who only 2 kills on the board here for USA, but definitely there's still quite a bit more to play for.
They've definitely been chilling in the center of the donut while all the fighting has been going on around them. Smoke's now starting to come down to see how much we can get movement onto this one. This is going to be Thailand trying to smoke this off as much as possible. So they're going to have a bit of an angle of approach. They're nervous about Ukraine, and you should be, given the way that Ukraine has been popping off. So you can at least get right up into the face of USA, but that does put them in a vulnerable position from Vietnam. A couple of shots come out from Imas. Does get the knock on to Belmont.
Yeah, save of that spray. You got to hit the first one, but he was able to save it with just a little bit more. Nice nade there. Belmoth goes down. Vietnam, you're not winning this one into the tournament overall. There will be a new PNC champion, but Vietnam's not done just yet. Gives Himas a little bit of room here to make some magic happen, maybe.
It's one squad wipe for Vietnam, and they're tied up with Ukraine. This is just so back and forth between all of it as Spaceman continues to just watch all of the action go on in front of him. It's like, Himas, don't worry. Shoot at those guys in front of you. Thailand's so much tastier than I am. Just watching the blue crawling away from it. No real shots coming out yet, so oddly enough, that is the action to watch on all of this. Is does anybody notice the giant blob of Spaceman creeping up back behind Vietnam?
I like the idea of, like, if I don't look at them, they can't see me, right? Like, that's what's going on right now. Spaceman still waddling on backwards. This is ridiculous. Himas has no clue. He's basically shadow stepping at this point, shadow crawling. What a weird scenario, but good job, I guess.
Look, Himas is not known for being like the guy to watch flanks. His job is to shoot the things in front of him, and the things in front of him right now are Ukraine. And Spaceman's got to love it. Vietnam, they know that they want these big points. They don't want one, they want squad wipes. That's what they're hunting for right now, and a weakened Ukraine is definitely something they're going to want to pounce on.
I mean, if he gets second place with no kills, and then the tiebreaker is placement points, there's a world where he could get third, but I don't think it's going to occur at all. But Hakatori now sends some nades forwards. That's a massive nade in terms of doing the damage to everybody on Vietnam. They're going to be scrambling. They do take down Boomstick, but now Hakatori and Ferris, what can they do against this? Knowing that flanking around could quite easily be an issue as that Molly goes forwards. A seat swap. He heard them. Oh, no, Spaceman, you're gone, friend.
Oh, those nades from Ukraine forced Vietnam to retreat. That kills off Spaceman. Thailand's making the push into the compound that USA's been trying to hold down. Kickstart dancing around the outside of it. Has to be careful because Vietnam's got a line onto it. Ukraine's still very focused onto Vietnam, but Vietnam's got goals, and it's a run right into USA's face. Kickstart's gonna go down, and it feels like Vietnam is coming alive.
Solozzi takes the roof as well, trying to find exactly where they can find some pressure points against all of this, but Scappy also down. Suddenly, somehow, Vietnam tries to make things work here in this final game. There was shotguns in the hands of USA, knowing that they might need those against the breach. MG3 in hand here for Kiss, goes into the building. He might have to clear out the rest of USA here from this position. Oh!
Ooh, gets scary. Vietnam's got so much control over the top, but we still have Hamas off to the side, keeping an eye on Ukraine. Ukraine stacked up those kills with 11 right now, but that puts them on 86. Vietnam's only got 2, but at 83 points. USA also just trying to get as many points as they can away from, trying to separate away from Thailand, who's just right on their doorstep. It's gotten right into the mix of it all, and it is Thailand that manages to take down Ukraine, but it is a mess. It is a 1v1v2 as Thailand comes around on the outside.
What am I watching? This is absolutely popping off. Vietnam might be able to close it out, though, and yes, they do! As they get the win, moving up into 7th place in the end. A very important victory for Vietnam, but really, the tale is what would be the boyhood dream here, Matrim, for Brazil.
It is time. Your PNC 2026 champions, Brazil! So much heart comes out from these guys, so hard they had to fight, and they deserve it. Look at this, donning the jackets coming out, and all the squads coming so close. I'm gonna be terrified to see Korea's side of this when we actually do, because it is going to be heartbreak for them, Gibson and Mark.
Oh man, parabéns Brazil, vai Brazil, they get it done, and look, I don't think anybody can disagree. They deserve it. They were in first place after the end of the second map, and they'd remained there all the way through PNC. Well deserved, well earned, a massive victory for Brazil, and I suppose a big victory for the West as well, because PNC had been dominated by teams from Asia for the last few years.
It's a nation rooted in absolute excellence when it comes to competition, and Brazil has been able to do it from word one of this tournament. They have become the champions. You can see exactly what it means to them. Let's check in down on the stage.
Brazil. More emotional than ever. I'm sure I see tears in all of your eyes. Sparking. Are you ready for an interview? Should I give you a minute? talk to Kraken first. All right, Kraken. It honestly is a more than words can describe moment, right? You were here in 24, you're back again 26, and here you lift the trophy. How are you feeling right now?
I just want to say thank you, God. Só quero agradecer a Deus que a gente conseguiu isso aqui, foi graças a Ele. Eu sou a pessoa mais feliz do mundo e hoje é o dia mais feliz da minha vida. Obrigado por todo mundo estar aqui. Eu não tenho que falar, velho. Obrigado.
If we could give one of the translators a microphone. 잠시만요. 제가 브라질 크라켄 선수에게 24년을 출전하고 올해 다시 출전하게 되면서 아쉬웠던 마음 마냐는 지금 우승 소감을 여쭤봤습니다. 답변해 주시죠.
일단은 너무 기쁘고 표현할 수 없이 너무 기쁩니다. 일단은 하나님한테 너무 감사하고 이런 기회를 주시고 그리고 너무 행복하고 여기 오늘 참석하는 분들께도 모두에게 감사드립니다.
Kraken is just super thankful and grateful for this very opportunity. Honestly, what he's feeling right now is more than words can describe. And he is thankful for everything. He thanks God mostly. All right, Sparking. Are you okay for an interview? Okay. This is your fifth PNC. You're the one that must have wanted it more than anyone on the team. What do the tears mean?
Eu não sei o que falar hoje. Eu sonhei por esse dia a minha vida inteira. Incontáveis campeonatos que eu passei, olhando os outros levantar essa taça, e eu sempre pensei, eu quero estar no lugar deles, meu Deus. Eu vou estar no lugar deles um dia. Vindo de uma região onde nunca tinha conquistado nada. Quantas vezes eu pensei em desistir, quantas vezes eu pensei em parar, quantas vezes eu pensei que eu não fosse capaz. Mas Deus me provou errado. Esse grupo de pessoas que está comigo hoje me provaram errado. E é para todos vocês no Brasil que não importa onde você esteja na sua vida, acredite nos seus sonhos. Você consegue, porque eu consegui, nós conseguimos. Isso aqui é por vocês, Brasil. É por vocês, Brasil.
이제 스파킹 선수의 5번째 PNC인 만큼 팀원 누구보다 가장 우승이 간절했을 것 같았는데 눈물의 의미에 대해서 한번 물어봤습니다.
일단은 이 순간을 많이 꿈꿔왔고 그리고 많은 경기 나가는 중에서도 언젠가 이렇게 이룰 꿈을 이룰 수 있는지를 기대했습니다. 다른 팀들이 올라갈 때마다 트로피를 받을 때마다 나도 언젠간 내 순간을 기다려왔고 그리고 이 순간이 오늘서 너무 행복합니다. 오늘 하루가 살면서 제일 행복하고 살면서 슬럼프랑 포기할 생각이 올 때도 있었지만 이렇게 견뎌내서 너무 기쁩니다. 꿈을 이뤄서 너무 행복하고 나뿐만 아니라 그리고 우리 브라질 모두에게도 이렇게 트로피를 전달 수 있게 해서 너무 감사합니다.
Well, Sparking has dreamt of this very moment since his career. Every time he watched from the sidelines other teams lifting that trophy, he has dreamt of that moment. When will I get to lift that trophy? And he is so over the moon that he gets to bring his home country, Brazil, a trophy that he's longed for a very, very long time. And speaking of which, Sparking has asked me that he wants to add in one more thing, so let me hear what that is.
Só queria agradecer todo mundo que está assistindo, que acordou às 7 horas da manhã, a torcer pra gente. Obviamente, agradecer minha avó Conceição, que está lá em cima agora, que eu sempre quis fazer isso por ela. Agradecer minha mãe Bianca, meu pai José, meu irmão João, minha irmã Francisca e minha namorada Luísa. Eu amo vocês e já eu tô aí para celebrar.
스파킹 선수가 한마디 더 해도 되냐고 요청을 해서 제가 한번 들어봤고요. 통역해 주시죠.
한마디 하나 더 있는데요. 오늘 아침 일찍 브라질의 오전 7시 일찍 일어나서 우리 응원해주는 모든 팬들에게 너무 감사드리고 하늘 위에 계신 우리 할머니에게도 이 순간을 기다렸던 할머니한테 너무 감사드립니다. 브라질에 계신 부모님, 가족 그리고 여자친구한테도 제가 가고 있다, 기다린다.
He wants to say a special shout out to the fans at home and of course all the family fans watching at 7 a.m. in Brazil. He wants a very special mention to his grandma in heaven and of course his family, his parents, and of course his beloved girlfriend as well. All right, well, this This is a very emotional moment, even for me as well. But BL is just standing there with big smiles. So let's hear it from BL. Well, you were here at 25, right? And you are definitely one of the key players that made so many highlight moments here. Well, you must be very, very proud of yourself, right? BL, what are you thinking?
Bom, primeiramente, antes de mais nada, eu queria agradecer a Deus, porque sem Ele eu não estaria aqui, é Ele quem me capacita e Ele que me dá condições para fazer esses highlights. Então eu queria que toda a honra, toda a glória seja dada a Ele. E, bom, eu estou muito feliz, sinceramente, eu nem sei o que dizer. Eu acho que a ficha não caiu ainda, porque eu não chorei, eu não fiz nada, eu fiquei de boa. Então, mano, eu quero agradecer a todo mundo aqui, agradecer a minha família, a meu pai, minha mãe, meu irmão, que sempre acreditou em mim desde o começo. Eu estou muito feliz pela oportunidade de estar aqui mais um ano e, graças a Deus, a gente conseguiu o título.
우선 BL 선수에게 2년 연속 PNC에 출전하면서 하이라이트 장면을 올해 정말 많이 이뤄냈다고 얘기를 해봤습니다. 그리고 스스로에게 되게 자랑스러울 것 같은데 소감을 한번 여쭤봤거든요. 뭐라고 답변하셨나요?
일단 하나님께 너무 감사드리고 이 순간을 주신 하나님 그리고 영광스러움 줍니다. 너무 기뻐서 뭐라고 할 수도 어떻게 말해야 될지 모르고 아직 안 믿겨져요. 그래서 보시면 저는 아직 눈물도 안 나올 정도로 이게 아직 안 믿겨집니다. 근데 너무 감사하고 브라질에 계신 이제 부모님, 형제 그리고 모든 분들에게 이런 기회를 주시고 더 감사합니다.
First and foremost, BL would love to thank God first, and honestly, all the love that his family supports him, sends his way, he definitely wants to give them a special shout as well. And honestly, BL, he said that it looks like the tears, the feelings, and winning this trophy hasn't hit him yet. You know, he is smiling, the tears are waiting, and it's so surreal that he doesn't even know where to describe how he's feeling at the moment. Yeah, rightfully so, and I'm sure the tears will hit back in a minute. All right, let's move over to Tony with the cool shades. All right, looking good with the shades, Tony. This is your first PNC, and it's not every day that someone, a professional PUBG player, gets to win a trophy at his very first international. How are you feeling? Are you just super happy?
Estou muito feliz e não sei como, não tenho palavras para descrever o que eu estou sentindo, porque foi muito difícil estar aqui. Lutei muito, passei por muita dificuldade, mas graças a Deus, Deus me colocou aqui e Jesus é o caminho, a verdade e a vida, porque toda vez eu pensei em desistir, muitas vezes, não foi uma nem foi duas, foi muitas vezes eu pensei em desistir e Deus me deu forças para estar aqui hoje. E eu confiei em Deus e por isso que eu estou aqui, por isso que a gente é campeão hoje, porque a gente confia em Deus e Deus é na frente de tudo. E eu queria agradecer todo o suporte, os brasileiros estão na torcida por nós. Queria agradecer a todo mundo que está em casa assistindo, minha família, minha namorada, minha mãe, meu pai, minha família toda. É muito bom estar aqui. Só tenho a agradecer a vocês, eu não tenho muita coisa para falar. Só Jesus is the way, the truth and the life.
우선 멋진 선글라스를 쓰면서 기다리고 있던 토니 선수에게 첫 PNC 출전하자마자 프로 게이머 어느 누구도 첫 번째 국제대회에서 트로피를 이렇게 들어 올릴 수 있을 거라 예상을 못했을 것 같은데 지금 첫 국제대회에서 우승까지 성공한 소감에 대해서 여쭤봤습니다.
저는 너무 행복하고 기뻐서 제가 어떻게 뭘 표현을 말해야 되는지를 모르겠습니다. 지금 이 순간 여기까지 올라온 것도 너무 힘들었고 하지만 헌신 노력하고 열심히 해서 여기까지 왔습니다. 일단 하나님한테도 너무 감사드리고 하나님의 주관 때문에 덕분에 여기 왔습니다. 캐리어 하면서 이제 맨 순간에 슬럼프가 좀 많았지만 그래도 하나님을 믿어서 오늘 여기까지 이 자리에 덕분에 왔습니다. 그리고 모든 서포트 해준 분들께 응원해주고 뭐 가족, 형제 모든 분들께 그리고 팬들에게도 감사드립니다.
You know, any word doesn't do what Tony's feeling any justice. And honestly, he's had a couple of rocky patches throughout his professional career, but he is so glad and over the moon. and he wants to give a special shout out to Jesus because Jesus is the way, and of course his beloved family in Brazil and everyone that has supported him throughout his professional career that actually contributed to his win today. All right, last but not least, our coach RDS, the man who's been standing there with the flag for the longest time. All right, let's hear it from the coach. What are you feeling? I mean, you were here last year, this year, and the first Brazilian coach to take a trophy home. All right, Hivi, what are you saying? What are you thinking, RDS?
Pessoal, tô aqui desde o começo do PUBG. Eu competi 6 anos aí como player e agora eu resolvi treinar. Nos últimos 2 anos eu tô treinando essa nova geração. Tô com um Kraken aqui, que é um moleque que desde o começo eu treinei ele liderar o grupo, ser o GL, ele se transformou em GL no início do treino e até hoje tem 2 anos que a gente está trabalhando nisso e hoje a gente junto conseguir trazer um troféu desse aqui que é o sonho de todo mundo que está no Brasil, o pessoal que jogou todas as screens desde o começo lá, quando a gente estava criando nosso cenário, quando era grama ainda, tenho certeza que está todo mundo muito feliz com esse momento aqui, grandioso. É isso, eu estou muito feliz e contente com o trabalho que os meninos entregaram. Estou muito satisfeito com o que foi feito aqui, o trabalho de cada um, a responsabilidade que cada um puxou, a alegria que a gente jogou. E é isso aí, isso aqui é Brasil, porra.
이제 RDS 코치님께서는 작년 PNC 코치로 이렇게 출전을 했고, 그리고 지금 인터뷰가 진행되는 상황처럼 깃발을 가장 오래 들고 계셨는데 그만큼 선수들을 옆에서 보면서 지금 어떤 생각이 드는지, 이 여정에 대해서 누구보다 잘 알고 계실 것 같아서 어떤 생각이 드는지 한번 여쭤봤습니다.
일단은 제가 플레이어를 6년 동안 했고 그리고 코치로는 2년 동안을 진행했습니다. 브라질에서 이제 브라질 모든 분들께 이렇게 가진 플레이어처럼 그 꿈을 일단 이 순간은 너무 기쁘고요. 각자 했던 자리에서 열심히 해줘서 너무 만족스럽고 오늘 경기도 너무 행복합니다.
I mean, RDS has spent 6 years as a professional PUBG player, a gamer himself, and 2 years as the coach. And honestly, just thankful and grateful for everything that he's been able to accomplish from this very moment, and wants to give out a very special shout out once again to all his beloved people and, of course, the fans. All right, well, this is your PNC 2026 champions, Team Brazil. 이렇게 해서 팀 브라질 PNC 2026 챔피언 인터뷰 만나봤습니다. 저희는 잠시 후 시상식으로 돌아오겠습니다. We'll be back with the award ceremony, and of course, let's hear this out. Yes, sure.
팬 3명 있는데 혹시 내려갈 수 있는지.
All right, let's get the trophy ceremony going on first.
An amazing and an emotional victory for Brazil. You could hear it in their words, how much it means to them here to come from humble beginnings, to be able to finally raise this trophy. I think for a lot of those players as well, they never thought it would happen, but they came with fortitude, they came with perseverance, they came with a fire here to PNC 2026 to be able to round this out. And look what just normal men are able to accomplish here on the battlegrounds for PUBG. That is Brazil becoming the champions for PNC 2026. That is Brazil taking on all comers, the very best the globe had to offer to become the champion. Joining me, Gibson, Mark and Matrim to talk about this fantastic victory we have seen. Mark, this is one for the history books.
Yeah, talk about sketching your name in the history books. That is the way to do it. Sparking 5th time around, and you can see how much it meant to not just him, but the whole team, because a victory like this puts your name firmly on the map.
Gibson?
Look, what can I say? That had me emotional, them winning the way that they reacted. I think I couldn't be happier. Like, I don't think I've ever been more happy for any team winning a PNC. The job they do, I think Matt will agree with me, the work that the Brazilian players put in the PUBG scene is insane. They scrim every single day. They run their own events. They work harder than I think anyone else in the scene. And it's what a victory for them. What a victory for the West. And I know those guys, that'll just make them hungrier for more.
Yeah, this is the final game result, of course, as Vietnam was able to bump up the leaderboards. Brazil going out with a 0, but it did not matter. Do not take that into account here for this victory, as of course they post the most important result of them all. When we look at the overall leaderboards a little down the line, what a fight back from teams like Ukraine and Thailand, as well as Neutral in these final moments as well. That podium, very important matchroom here for some of those teams to try and strike at.
And it was so many of the squads that were fighting for just a placement up in this very tail end section. Even the United States finding some successes in the later stages. Germany staying in that consistent positioning, but I 100% agree. Ukraine, Vietnam coming alive in the later stages, and Thailand on the hold on that other side where we saw so much of the movement. Korea trying to escape what was going on with Neutral. It wasn't Brazil that ended up taking down Korea. It was everybody else around still in the hunt, stopping them in their tracks.
If you think about that podium as well, as we take a look back, it looks like we're going to have some more here coming from the main stage as everything is getting ready as well for their final trophy ceremony to occur. Let's check in and see what's going on.
85킬을 기록하면서요. 엄청난 활약을 했습니다. 마지막 매치에서도 이 존재감을 드러내면서 마지막 매치에서 우승을 차지하게 됐습니다. 이제 선수들이 무대로 등장합니다. 여러분의 뜨거운 박수 보내주십시오.
Team Brazil has recorded 85 kills this Nations Cup. They deserve it because they were the most fearful team on the server.
네, 챔피언에게만 주어지는 챔피언 의상까지 해서 정말 멋진 경기를 만들어 줬습니다. 자, 그럼 시상을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 킬 리더 시상에는 이번 유니폼 만들어주신 분 곳이죠. 무신사 고영대 본부장님께서 직접 수고해 주시겠습니다. 뜨거운 박수 모시겠습니다.
To assist our award presentation, Mr. Young Dae-ko, Director, Head of Sports Sales at Mushinsa, the sponsor of our very beautiful uniform, has joined here us at the venue today.
네. 그래서 이 무신사 유니폼이 난리가 났습니다. 많은 팬분들이 구하시려고 해도 마지막엔 전부 다 매진될 정도로 많은 사랑을 받았습니다. 예, 다시 한번 감사의 말씀 드리겠습니다. 자, 그럼 시상을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 브라질 팀에게는 $15,000의 상금이 수여되겠습니다.
Well, to Team Brazil, they will be taking home $15,000 because they deserve it. Congratulations to Team Brazil.
다시 한번 큰 박수로 축하해 주십시오. 그리고 시상을 도와주신 고영대 본부장님께도 다시 한번 감사의 말씀 드리면서요. 앞으로도 잘 부탁드리겠습니다. 잘해 주시죠. 박수 보내주십시오.
Special thank you to Director Ko for joining us for the award ceremony and for the beautiful uniforms.
네, 그리고 브라질 선수들도 앞으로 받을 상이 많기 때문에 잠시 대기석으로 자리해 주시길 부탁드리겠습니다.
And to Team Brazil, you have many more rewards to collect. So if you could step off the stage for now, we'll see you in a bit as well.
정말 멋진 드라마를 만들었던 브라질 선수들. 아, 저 유니폼 보니까 굉장히 멋집니다.
감사합니다.
자, 그렇죠.
네.
보면서도 깜짝 놀랐어요. 자, 다음 시상은요. 단 한 명의 선수만이 가질 수 있는 PNC의 가장 영광스러운 자리죠. MVP 시상이 기다리고 있는데요. 어떤 선수들이 경쟁 부분에 이름을 올렸는지 MVP 후보를 만나보겠습니다.
Well, next up, only one out of 120 players can earn this title, the MVP title. Let's see our nominees.
보시죠. 야, 스파킹, 샤오디디, 하카토리예요. 자, 이 세 명의 선수가 MVP에 선정이 될 수 있습니다. 후보들이죠.
Yeah. Out of the three players on the graphics right now lies our 2026 MVP.
하이라이트를 만나보겠습니다.
Of course, the MVP, no doubt going to be Sparking, even though we are going to watch through all three of these players. I think though as well, when you look at these highlights as well, great stuff from Sparking alongside some really standout performances across the whole tournament here, Mark.
Yeah, for me, it's really good to see. And it was actually looking back at not just Sparking, but the whole team, that kind of gives me the opportunity to flex out. Tony comes from console. Obviously, he's inserted himself very much in the region and performing really well at his first international stage. BL, we saw have critical moments where he held out. But each part of this team, each part of the puzzle allowed Sparking to do what he does best. And that is to go find the kills and get the points.
Xiao Wu looking great for China as well, alongside Hakatori that we just watched before. But again, the momentum just didn't quite shift in their favor. Ukraine ending up in 10th place, China in 4th. But of course, Sparking will be taking this spot. Let's check in back at the stage, of course, after this Xiao Wu highlight finally finishes out.
2016 PNC MVP Sparking!
Congratulations, Sparking. You take the MVP, the most valued player here at PNC 2026.
최고의 팀, 최고의 선수, 이번 시즌 역사의 한 페이지를 장식한 스파킹!
Congratulations, you are writing history as we speak.
이런 영광스러운 자리에는요, 이번에 메인 스폰서였죠. 와, 구글 플레이 글로벌 총괄 장현세님을 뜨거운 박수 모시겠습니다.
For the MVP award presentation, Mr. Hyun-se Jang, VIP members global lead of Google Play, has joined us. Here he comes to award our MVP.
대한민국 게임 배틀그라운드에 또 이렇게 위대한 구글 플레이의 장현세 상무님께서 함께 해주셨습니다. 다시 한번 감사의 말씀 드리고요. 시상을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. MVP에게는 $10,000의 상금이 수여가 되겠습니다. MVP의 주인공 스파킹!
Sparking writes his name in PNC's history and gets to take home $10,000 for his amazing performance.
다시 한번 축하 말씀드리고요. 이렇게 대한민국 e스포츠 배틀그라운드에 함께해 주셔서 감사드립니다. 구글 플레이 글로벌 총괄 장현세님에게 뜨거운 박수를 보내주십시오.
Thank you to our presenter, Mr. Jang, for joining us. And Sparking, you have many more to collect. I think you should wait down the stage for now again.
스파킹 선수에게도 다시 한번 박수를 부탁드리겠습니다. 자, 이제 탑3 시상이 이어지겠습니다. PNC 2026에서 최고의 퍼포먼스를 보여준 팀이죠. 여러분들이 많이 기대가 되실 텐데 다시 한번 선수분들에게 깊은 감사 말씀 드리면서요. 여러분들 오늘의 주인공들 만나볼 준비가 되셨나요? 되셨으면 주인공들을 불러볼 텐데, 자, 여러분들이 또 여기 한 팀 한 팀 올 때마다 한국 팀들뿐만 아니라 여기서 해외 팀들 올라올 때도 뜨거운 박수를 보내주셨어요. 정말 대단했죠?
맞습니다. All right, we are about to see the best teams of PUBG Nations Cup 2026. So please don't forget, send your loudest, your biggest cheers to these teams because they deserve it more than ever.
그래서 이 무대를 장식하기 위해서 이제 단상이 준비가 되고 있습니다. 전 세계 최고의 팀들이 이번 PNC에 참가를 해서 단 3팀만이 이 멋진 무대에 이름을 올려놓을 수가 있습니다. 과연 이 주인공들이 앞으로 있을 PGC 그리고 내년에 PNC에서 어떤 모습을 보이게 될지 계속해서 지켜보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 그럼요. 탑3 시상을 진행해 볼 텐데요. 세 팀을 여러분의 뜨거운 박수로 불러보겠습니다.
Please welcome the top 3 teams of PNC 2026.
중립팀 그리고 브라질 마지막으로 마지막까지 투혼을 발휘했던 대한민국.
Team Neutral, Team Brazil, and lastly home favorite Team Korea.
네, 자, 우선은 뒤에서 자리해 주시고 저희가 호명을 통해서 위로 올라오도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 3위팀 중립팀.
Our top team coming in third, Team Neutral.
네, 먼저 이 무대 위에 올라와서 세리머니 준비하고 있습니다. 자, 무대 위로 올라와 주시길 부탁드리겠습니다. 3위팀 중립팀 루트라.
Team Neutral coming in third at PUBG Nations Cup 2026. A climb. You did it. Congratulations.
다시 한번 축하 말씀드리고요. 그리고 이어서 준우승 팀이죠. PNC 2016 준우승 대한민국.
Runner of PNC 2026, Team Korea.
정말 잘했습니다. 감동적인 승부를 보여줬어요. 자, 이렇게 대한민국 팀을 만나봤고 이어서 그랜드 파이널 챔피언 팀 브라질.
Lastly, champions of PNC 2026, Team Brazil.
최고의 경기력으로 우승을 차지한 브라질까지 만나봤습니다. 자, 이제 자랑스러운 선수들 시상을 위해 시상자분을 모시도록 하겠습니다. 펍지 프랜차이즈와 펍지 스튜디오 총괄 장태성님을 뜨거운 박수 모시겠습니다.
Befitting for this ceremony, here we welcome Mr. Tae Seok-jang, head of PUBG franchise and PUBG Studios.
PNC를 축제의 장으로 이렇게 많은 분들이 함께 할 수 있는 무대에서 이 선수들이 최고의 경기력을 선보였습니다. 태성님 다시 한번 감사 말씀드리면서 이제 대표 선수들에게 메달 수여를 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 다시 한번 선수들에게 뜨거운 박수로 축하해 주십시오.
Special thank you to Mr. Tae Seok-jang for making this PUBG Nations Cup come true. Starting with Team Neutral, he will be handing out the medals.
먼저 3위 팀 뉴트럴 팀에게 메달이 수여되고 있습니다. PNC 이번 대회에 3위를 차지하면서 이 엄청난 성적을 거뒀는데요. 노련함과 더불어 냉철함, 침착함을 보여주면서 이번 대회에서 3위를 차지하게 됐습니다. 다시 한번 선수들 고생 많았습니다. 자, 이렇게 3위 시상이 이어졌습니다. 여러분 큰 박수로 축하해 주십시오.
Congratulations to Team Neutral taking home the third place prize, $22,000, and making that last climb here. Congratulations, guys.
이어서 대한민국 잘했어요. 대한민국 팬분들이 정말 열정적으로 열심히 응원을 해줬습니다. 할 수 있는 최선의 플레이를 보여주면서 이번 PNC에서 2위를 차지했습니다. 마지막까지 포기하지 않고 최선을 다해준 대한민국 선수들에게 뜨거운 박수로 축하해 주십시오.
The runner-up Team Korea did not give up till the very last minute. They'll be taking home their share of the prize, $56,000 home.
이어서 우승팀 최고의 팀으로 거듭났습니다. 챔피언 팀 브라질.
The champions, the fiercest team on the server is our Team Brazil.
다시 한번 축하의 말씀을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 스파킹 선수의 오열하는 장면을 보면서 이 선수들 꿈의 무대가 얼마나 대단한지, 얼마나 많은 압박이 있는지 그 누구보다도 느낄 수 있는 상황이었습니다. 마지막까지 최선을 다한 플레이, 그리고 배틀그라운드에 맞는 생존 플레이를 보여주면서 우승을 차지하게 됐습니다. 다시 한번 최선을 다해준 선수분들과 시상을 도와주신 장태성님에게 뜨거운 박수를 보내주십시오.
Okay, congratulations to all the players and our presenter, Mr. Tae Seok-jang, for joining us today. Thank you so much.
이제 챔피언이 무대 앞에 챔피언의 이름과 영광스러운 순간의 역사를 새길 시간이 기다리고 있습니다. 자, 그러면 선수분들 이 단상 아래 쪽 내려와서 이제 마지막 퍼포먼스를 준비해 주시길 부탁드리겠습니다.
All right, it is time for the champions to write their names underneath the trophy. So if our runner-up and third place teams could please take the step down from the stage, because this is unfortunately the
네.
champions moment. Step
그리고
down.
3위 팀과 2위 팀은 그리고 태성님은 자리해 주시길 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 네.
If you would take
다시
the
한번
step to the
감사 말씀
right.
좀 드리도록 하겠습니다. 네, 자 여기서 우승팀 자 무대로 와서 함께 자리를 해주겠습니다. 그리고 저기 2위와 3위 팀에게는 여러분 뜨거운 박수를 보내주십시오. 자리해 주시죠. 이제 우승팀만 이 역사에 이름을 새길 수 있는 상황이죠.
맞습니다. Now it's time for the champions to write their names on that trophy because they are the ones that prove that they deserve it till the very end.
네. 그래서 이 무대에 증명해내면서 앞으로 있을 대회에서도 멋진 활약을 부탁드리도록 하겠습니다. 자, 그럼요. 여러분의 뜨거운 박수로 무대에 사인을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 자, 선수분들 자리해 주시죠. 뒤쪽으로.
All right, Team Brazil, let's go sign that trophy right now.
자, 이 무대에서 직접 선수들은 사인을 합니다. 이 조형물에 자신의 이름을 새겨놓을 수 있는 영광을 가져가고 있습니다. 자, 각각의 이름을 새길 수 있는 영광스러운
All right,
자리거든요.
team, are you ready to write your names one by one, your player names? All right, first up is RDS signing that first blank.
네, 자, 선수들이 정성껏 이름을 써 내려가고 있습니다. 영광스러운 자리고요. 앞으로 이 장면은 PUBG 배틀그라운드 e스포츠 역사에 생생히 기록이 될 겁니다. 자, 그래서 이렇게 완벽한 퍼포먼스까지. 자, 이름판을 아예 우리가 최고다. 자, 퍼포먼스 보여주는 이렇게 강력한 브라질의 힘이 느껴집니다. 정말 대단해요. 저희
Tony,
무대.
why are you breaking this?
그렇죠. 들어가서 다시 한번 여기서 하나하나. 와, 역시 힘이 넘칩니다.
장난 아니네요.
괴력의 사나이들 이 브라질 선수들이 여기서 지금 사인을 하고 있습니다. 자, 사인을 위에다가 좀 해주시기 부탁드리겠습니다.
All
자신의
right,
이름을.
here we go to write the names. I mean, it just shows how passionate Team Brazil is at everything. There goes Kraken with the smiley.
그렇죠. 웃으면서 이렇게 하나하나 자, 자신의 이름, 닉네임을 지금 쓰고 있죠. 지크라켄. 그리고 이어서 하나하나 이름을 지금 쓰고 있어요. 비엘 선수도 자신의 닉네임을 새겨 넣었고요.
And BL writes it in green, and here is Sparking.
스파킹 선수도 이번 대회에서 MVP뿐만 아니라 우승까지 차지하게 됐습니다. 정말 멋진 모습을 보여주면서요. 많은 배틀그라운드 팬분들에게 감동을 선사했죠. 자, 이렇게 선수들 마지막까지 최선을 다해서 이 조형물의 이름을 써 내려가고 있습니다. 이번 2026년 시즌 최고의 팀은 팀 브라질. 다시 한번 뜨거운 박수로 축하해 주십시오.
Congratulations again to our PNC 2026 champions, Team Brazil. All signed, done and dusted, and here is your trophy.
이제 마지막 트로피 세레모니가 기다리고 있습니다. 자, PNC 6번째 챔피언으로 이름 올린 브라질이고요. 자, 이번 대회는 정말 멋진 드라마가 좀 많이 펼쳐졌습니다. 함께 해주신 여러분 그리고 참여해준 선수분들에게 깊은 감사의 말씀 드리면서요. 저희는 여기서 인사드리고 다음 대회를 통해서 다시 찾아뵙도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you for joining us for our 6th PNC. This is your 6th PNC champions. This is Castor Park, and I'm Bella, and thank you for joining us.
마지막은 우승팀만이 할 수 있는 트로피 세레머니, 여러분 뜨거운 박수로 축하해 주십시오.
Come on, guys, lift that trophy.
Amazing scenes. The Kraken, Biel, Tony the Royal Roader on international stage, and Sparking the captain have become the PNC 2026 champions. We got here in the end. The trophy's back in their hands. Gibson, I couldn't be happier here for these lads.
No, they deserve it. Like I said, they worked like nobody else, and what a day for Sparking. He's a PNC MVP, he's an EWC MVP, and I think he's secured his legacy as the best South American PUBG player of all time.
Mark, fantastic to watch here. Just Brilliant scenes here to see as this team has been able to ascend the mountain when there are so many strong rosters here for PNC.
Yeah, it was always worrying as well because they led so well at the start. Were they going to get caught up? And was worrying. A little bit of a fault at the start, but they closed it out so strong. And as Gibson says, though, Sparking leading the charge, MVP. What a way to bring the trophy home.
Yeah, very emotionally charged as well, Matt. Obviously, we got to hear the interview a little while back now here as we round out the day, but it's very nice to hear how much it actually means to them.
Oh, dude, I love Sparking. He's my land buddy, and it is so deserved. This guy has been fighting so hard to make something happen. The rest of the squad, you can see, is just going to have a resurgence around them. I cannot wait to see what all these players do now that they've got confidence of taking their team, getting themselves a LAN victory above, especially a PNC of all things, means the fact that this could be so just, this is going to totally change the way we might even see all of these players approach the game.
Yeah, South America's as well, just looking fantastic here. Not just Brazil, also Argentina being able to hold down their cells. Very important for Americas, very important for PAS, very important overall for Brazil. Let's get final thoughts before we wrap things up. I wasn't going to do it, but you know what? We've gone on this long towards it. We may as well get even more. Gibson, I'll start with you, mate.
Final thoughts. What an event. What a PNC. Nice to see the West, you know, that's been dominated by Asia for so long. Great to see the West fight back. Brazil to get the win, and what can I say? Can they defend it next year?
Good question. Matrim?
Americas! Vamos, Brazil! Love it, man! Yes!
You had to get him out the way first, didn't you? Look, well done. They played really well. It's been fun. Thanks for the invite for PNC, and it was close even down to the wire. So what a great event it's been.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant to see a new champion here for PNC 2026. And ladies and gentlemen, that does it for us here. So congratulations, Brazil. Once again, the new PNC champions. That does it for us here. There's plenty more PUBG on the way, no doubt, because 2026 is wall-to-wall PUBG. EWC's coming up and all the like. But that is it. Brazil is our champions. We'll see you next time for more PUBG action.
Việc thi đấu tại PNC thì đó là một ước mơ của mình.
Ser escolhido para representar o meu país na Nations Cup é sentimento inexplicável.
PNC is unlike any other tournament. We're having competition with other countries. The difference in the PNC tournaments is a good thing.
如果说在这样的比赛上我能拿到好的成绩，对我来说是一种很特别的荣誉。
Welcome all the teams are live from Jangsheng Arena in Seoul, South Korea.
Çok mutluyum, çok gururluyum. Yani buradaki herkes buraya hak ederek geldi.
I like it a lot, and it's great to see so many different players from different places.
Just need to somehow get some energy before the games and during the games and just smash it.
Gustav reads it, knows where they're coming from. Good shots, gets a knock on a one, gets the second one. Gustav, defense is strong.
Guns, they stack both guns well. Wade drafting finds one. Quick confirmation done. Sparky gets through. And Sparky wins the game.
Для меня это был уникальный опыт, поиграть с игроками из других клубов. Это первый раз для меня, и я очень сильно надеюсь, что такие турниры будут проводиться почаще.
Це була моя перша участь у PNC. Незалежно від результату, я повністю задоволений цим турніром.
My thoughts on the event are it's awesome to always spend time with the fans. There's been so many of them, so it's been really fun, and I always love coming to a PNC.
ก็ขอบคุณแฟนๆคลับทุกคนด้วยนะครับที่มาดูเราถึงที่งานหรือว่าที่แบบรับชมอยู่ที่บ้านก็ขอบคุณมากๆครับ
제가 오랜 선수 생활 해오면서 가장 뜻깊은 경험이었고 앞으로도 이 경험 잊지 못할 것 같습니다. 응원해 주셔서 감사합니다.
Cảm ơn những người đồng đội và những người cổ vũ mình. Mọi người đã vất vả rồi thì lần sau mình sẽ cố gắng và phát huy tiếp.
Kita sudah memperlihatkan semuanya dan semoga Indonesia bisa kembali lagi di PNC tahun depan.
Especially since we are going to win it, so that's going to be really nice.
I want to come next year again, please. PUBG, pick me.
Ciao. ก็สวัสดีครับ บ๊ายบาย
Cheers.
Thanks for watching.
No recomiendo el centro. Acá hay silenciador de esa acá. Granada acá. Granada acá. Tírame granada.